Welcome to Conversations with Celena, the podcast where we discover inspiration, motivation, and information to help you live your best life. I'm your host, Celena, aka Sunshine, and each week we'll dive into conversations with guests who share their testimonies, insights, and advice. We'll explore topics that uplift, encourage, and empower you to be the best version of yourself you can be. So tune in and let's have some fun while we explore all that life has to offer. Keep it smiling, sunshine, and let's go. Hey, sunshine. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Celena. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. You all know that we love to come and give inspiration, motivation, and information to help you live your best blessed life. I'm your smiling host, Sunshine, and you are in for a treat today with our guest, Courageous Fire. She is an award-winning author, trainer, speaker, and freedom architect who helps Black women turn trauma into reparations so they can stabilize, build, and create generational freedom. Y'all, please welcome to the stage, Courageous Fire.
I love your energy. I do. I love it.
Girl, thank
love
you so much.
it.
I've been so excited ever since you said yes, because from the first time that I met you, before I even met you, just heard about you, I was like, what? Wow, I cannot wait to meet her. So thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with us.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. So we're just going to jump right on into it and let you tell us, like, someone that's just meeting you for the first time, how would you introduce yourself to them and like the work that you do?
I don't like to introduce myself to people. I really like to sit off in the cut and observe, because what I'm looking for when I'm surrounded by people is I'm looking for the person who needs me to say something to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for. So there's not going to be a formal introduction. There's going to be me looking to see, and my work is with Black women. I'm just unapologetic about us. We are the group in the United States that is always put to the back of the line, and there's always an excuse to tell a Black woman why she's not going to get support, why she's not going to get help, why she's not going to be advocated for. And so my work is all about us. So I'm looking for, in the room, virtually or in person, I'm looking for the Black woman who needs to know who she is. And I'm going to sprinkle that any kind of way I can get it in. There's something about all women that hurts my heart when I finally understood it about us. I want to say this was like 2010. You can tell a woman why she is nothing, and she will instantly believe you. Conversely, if you tell a woman she's amazing, she'll make you prove it. And so that really hurts that it's so easy to convince a woman that she has no value, but it's so hard to get her to see the value that she has. And so when I observe a person like that, then I'm looking for the proof so that when I speak, I can have that ready. But if we're going to talk about my work, like, I started this focus on Black women when I really thought my focus was supposed to be on women. And that was when I discovered that I was married to someone who was abusive. And I say discovered because he wasn't, Black in my eyes, throwing me down the stairs and all that kind of stuff. But he was doing other things that in our community have been normalized. It's not looked at as violence. If he's demanding for you to tell him where you are all the time, if he wants you to create passwords that he tells you this is the formula for creating passwords that I want you to use, because what has been normalized in our community is all you have to be in order to be a good man is be present. You can be doing everything else. I mean, you could be horrible, you could be cruel, you could be violent. You could be harmful, but if you're there, well, girl, at least your man come home. And yeah, I mean, for almost for 13 years, and then by the time the divorce was final, it was almost 15 years. So for 13 years, he was there, but presence does not equal safety. It does not equal protection. It does not equal compatibility. It does not equal um, love. It does not equal reliability. It doesn't equal stability. It doesn't equal anything. It's just somebody who is there. And so when I started understanding that I had been abused in every way, including physically, I was like, wow, so you can physically abuse someone if you're trying to create a situation where they won't live, when you're making sure they don't get medical attention, like that's physical abuse too. Like we're not taught those things. We don't know that. So it really was an eye opener for me, that because I thought that the only people who got abused were people who didn't love themselves. I loved myself, not as much as I do now, but I did love myself. I did like myself. I did appreciate myself. So that's not the standard for who gets hurt. And so as I started researching, because when I don't understand something that's happened to me, that's the first thing I do is, okay, what do I need to look at? What do I need to examine? What do I need to study so I can understand how I got here? And as I started doing all of that, I started looking at the fact that nearly 50% of Black women within our lifetimes experience some type of intimate partner violence or domestic violence. How is that happening to us this often, but we don't know what it looks like when it shows up? And so that's why my work started focusing on us. In the almost 7 years that I've been doing this work, sis, I've come to see that our shorter lifespans, our poor health outcomes are directly tied to trauma that is unresolved. And so that's made me dig in even harder. And when I first started this work, I want to say within the first year, I was like, you know what? Trauma and abuse need to pay me back. I looked up the word reparations, and it is what happens when two entities enter into a war. Whatever side loses, by the rules of war, they owe the winner reparations, payback for the expenses that they incurred through the battle that they won. Kind of like going to court and you lose, so now you got to pay damages. Like, I didn't know that that's what reparations meant. If you lost, you got to pay up. I didn't know that. I did not know that. And so I was just like, oh, but in trauma and abuse, like they owe me. And so the concept was there, but it was very loose concept. And I didn't realize that I was actually creating the framework by just overcoming it. And the framework became a trauma reparations framework on how to make it pay me. Like, so the work that I've been doing for almost 7 years is directly built from, and I definitely want us to get into like the meat and potatoes of this. It is absolutely built from the trauma upgrades, I call them, the ways that trauma sharpens me, the ways that trauma taught me some things, some skills. And there are actually skill shaped gaps in society that I can now solve simply because I got those upgrades. And so it's like, wait a minute, this thing is powerful. And I continue to see it on every level that I build of freedom and empowerment for myself. So the first thing that I did was get him out the house. That was the first level, right? So then what were the things that I did to do that? The second thing I did was get myself out of oppressive workspaces, and I started working for myself. So that was the next level. I don't have to go to work and look nobody in the eye who's talking to me crazy, and let's not even call them microaggressions, because they're not. They're violence. There's nothing small about being violent and being harmful and being verbally and emotionally abusive to Black women. It's not micro. It's abuse. It's oppression. And so it's like, okay, Now I'm out of that. So there's the next level. Then it was getting us, me and my daughters, out of the house where so many traumatic memories lived, right? The furniture, the hallways, like the kitchen, like whatever. There's so many things. And so getting us out of that and getting us into a place that was nicer even than the house where we were. Well, the next level that I'm on is creating a branch of my organization that's in a whole different country and getting me and my youngest daughter out of the United States in a time that Black women are being horrendously um, disadvantaged, pushed out even further from economic opportunity. And so it's like, okay, I'm here now. I literally, like, hold on, let me. This is the beach where a Black girl from Des Moines, Iowa lives now at 57 years old. Nobody bought this for me. Nobody gave it to me. This is trauma reparations, and I demanded it. So here I am. So every time I put another level into the framework, it made me go, okay, how is this? Because this is the rest of the way my mind works. How is it replicable for somebody else? If this is what they went through, any sort of trauma that took things away from them and put them and their children at a disadvantage and took away options, how can they build those options, increase those options for them and their children? And I am so excited to say my 18-year-old daughter is not entering adulthood the same way I entered adulthood, right? She's living on the beach in Panama. So she knows things I didn't know. And the most important thing she knows is I can create options. If I don't like what I have, I can create options I want. She knows that because she saw it and she lived it through the things I created for us. So, like, that's it. Like, in a nutshell, that's why I'm so fiercely dedicated to what I do, because I am determined for this part of my life to put the rest of my life to shame, sis. Like, just make it look pale. Just make it look raggedy when I look back and be like, ooh, I was doing that. Ooh, I want this part to make the younger person go, wow, we did it. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Love that. I am all the way locked in. I had put myself on mute just to make sure we weren't getting any feedback, or hopefully I haven't seen anyone say in the comments that we were. But honey, let me tell you something. I'm all about give me my reparations. However it is, I'm locked in to find out. That's why I put that message. I'm like, I'm all ears. Like, what do I
Okay.
do? Because the hell that I went through, somebody
Ma'am,
needs to pay me.
thank you. That is the biggest thing that I told my daughters because, of course, right, we were going through the transition of our lives, right? You know, that it is really a mind, what's the word I'm looking for? A mind maze for a child to try to wrap their mind around the person that's supposed to love me is dangerous to me. Like, that is so unnatural, right? And they really wanted to crawl up under their mom all the time. And I understand that. But I'm a single mom. There's things I got to do, and I can't do them right now with you up under me. And I can't be around you all the time. We can't just kick it all the time. I got to kick into gear because I got some things to do, right? First of all, I got to change locks. I got to do stuff to make sure we are physically safe. I got to educate y'all so you understand what he did. It didn't just feel bad, it was abusive, so you can recognize it in the future. I got to build my business so that me, because really, COVID and all of that was what I was allowed to build my business up with. So I opened the business while I was still working for somebody else in 2019, but they sent us all home in May of 2020. I had $30,000 in unemployment in 2020. My bills weren't 30,000 though. What you think I built that business with? that unemployment. Sure did. And so I was trying to explain to them my window is small. And in order for me to get through this window while it's still open, I have to move quickly. And I explained to them it's not that I don't see the emotional needs that you have, and I try to split myself as best I can and be intentional about creating spaces to let you get access to me as you're moving through this really horrific time. But your mother will literally lose her mind if she can't see something positive come from almost 15 years of my life. Like, it can't just be, oh, I just went through hell and it was just a little exercise and that's interesting. No, ma'am. It has to be, I went through this and now it can benefit me and you and countless other people. Now it's useful instead of just torture. And so I had to explain that to them. So, yeah, I can completely relate to what you said. You better pay me. It better, because it sure has taken a whole lot from me. So now it better pay me.
It does. And you definitely have mommy guilt, even though you know you're trying your best to do what's best for them. You are missing opportunities to be there emotionally for them
Yep.
because, like, you are depleted, and you have to build
Yeah.
yourself back up in order
Yep.
to be what they need. And so,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem apologizing to my kids,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
now
And
that
I
I'm able
certainly
to
have.
openly.
Yes.
Yes, I'm able to openly
Hmm.
talk to them about, listen, this is why I was not emotionally available. Physically, yes, I was
Yeah.
there, tried to be, available the best that I could, but with all the unhealed trauma, and not knowing how to process everything and walking around keeping other people's secrets, their abuse and their neglect and their physical and sexual abuse to myself, and not getting
Right.
the help that I need. Like, I just was just going through the motions, getting up, going to work, paying the bills, making sure they had something to eat, but not really being able to be available for them the way that I would have wanted to be. So now that I'm in that better space at 53 years old, we have those conversations, and they are so like, Mama, it is okay. Like, you did a good job. Look at us. And so I'm just like, thank y'all. But
Yeah.
like you said earlier, you could tell me I suck as a mom, I'm gonna believe it. But you tell me, Mom, you did a good job. Like, I need you to prove it. Like, tell me other things.
Yep.
I need you
Yep.
to run it
Yep.
down. A, B, C,
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Like, Mama, you did this and you did this and you did this. So,
Yep.
everything you said, I understand and I get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a specific framework, like, you can always make cute little acronyms, which I did because it makes it easier for people to remember the points. But like, there literally are 4 very specific steps for sisters to get paid. And I'm happy to go into them today if you'd like, because we deserve to get paid. And even more than that, I won't say even more than that, because we should put ourselves first, which I know for Black women is a weird concept, but we should. We should. People talk about, we should love ourselves, love others the way we love ourselves. And it's just like, okay, if you believe those words, then you have to live them. And in order to live that, you literally have to be fully, thoroughly, committedly in love with yourself. And you should be serving anybody else out of the overflow from the love you've already given to yourself. Then you're never serving out of empty. Then you're never serving out of lack. You're never serving at a disadvantage. And you're never serving in a way that can be harmful because you tried. Start with you, right? And so we should be getting paid, and we should be showing our children, especially our girls, that a good woman is not Don't be aiming to be a good woman who is great at self-sacrifice, because that's the reason why we have the second highest death rates among women in the United States. Because we keep going, I just want to give, give, give. It's like, yep. And that's why you and I being in our 50s, wow, that's a big deal. Because plenty of Black women in the United States don't ever see 50. They don't even crack it. Yeah, because people will, absolutely. As long as you're giving it, people will take it. So we need to be able to show this framework to our daughters and our sons, but especially our daughters, so that they understand mom was a good woman and mom loved herself first and best. Mom served from overflow, and look at the options that creates when that is done. That's what our daughters need to see. Our sons need to see that because they need to be looking for a woman who is built like their mom. They're not looking for a partner who's self sacrificing. They're looking for a partner who's a true partner. They're looking to give to her, and they're expecting her to take care of herself first and then give to them out of overflow. If we're doing that, we're not only building generational wealth and stability for our children, but we're also making a space for men to truly expect to be in a reciprocal, loving relationship with someone because they understand that that is what is healthy. They see the evidence.
Yes, yes. I just wanted to focus on you and what you were saying in that moment. Um, yeah, because a lot of us don't even know what healthy looks like. And so it's
We
important
don't.
for us to do the research and study, like you were saying. If you want to know, like, how did I get here and how do I get out of it?
Hmm.
You have to
Hmm.
study and research in order to break those cycles from reoccurring. And so yes, I would love, love, love to hear this framework. I got my
Okay.
pen. Look, I got my pen. I'm ready to write it down, honey. Tell
She
me what.
said, excuse me, let me get my pen. I love it. I love it. So I call it the PAID framework, as in PAID. And the most important one is the P, because it's all about us changing our perception. One of the biggest things that kills Black women is this whole strong persona that we think we're supposed to wear like an honor badge. And oh my goodness, we are not. We're not. So we don't even realize a lot of times what these words mean because we're like, I'm a strong Black woman. I'm a strong this. She's a strong that. And it's like, don't say that about her because strong literally means you can endure a lot. What are you saying? I'm proud of me because I could get stomped on a lot. I'm proud of me because people run over me a lot and I can still walk after that. Like, what is that to be proud of? And then why are we teaching our daughters, hey, yeah, I want to be a strong woman who can take a lot like my mom did? No. Because what do we get? You just said it, you had it running across the screen. The more so called strength you show, the more people think, great. Number one, I don't need to check on her because she's strong, so she don't need nothing. I'm not going to check on her. I'm not going to give her nothing. I'm not going to do anything for her. I'm not going to help her. I'm not going to offer anything because she's strong. Great. And we've proven that to them that we can endure a whole lot. So they just keep keeping it on. All strong gets you is more.
You said it without saying it.
Okay, you prayed at the beginning, so I'm trying to, not be offensive to your audience, but you know what that face meant.
Yeah, I know what that face meant. You said it
But we
without
need to
saying
learn, okay? We need to learn power. There is a marked difference between strength and power. So let's change the perception, sisters. Stop trying to be strong. Throw that away. Throw it out and learn what power is. Power means I can impact a lot. Power means I can influence a lot. So I got to change my perception. It's not cute, wonderful, admirable, or anything else to be strong, but it is necessary to be powerful. So change the perception. That's number one. Number two is the A, and that's for assets. Now, we've been taught, especially most of us Black women in the United States, we were brought up, a lot of us were brought up in lack. And so the minute we get a little bit of access to any sort of money, we're like, let me buy things. There's nothing wrong with buying things, but that's not the kind of assets that are going to get you the levels of freedom and empowerment that give you and your children and their children and their children options. The
That's right.
assets that you need are the assets that come from trauma that you've already endured. I call them your trauma informed assets, and you need to claim them. So the A is for claiming those assets. There are things that trauma sharpens in you that were already there, or things that trauma creates in you that are skills. So here's an example. I didn't realize that I was raised in abuse and trauma. My father was sexually abusive to a sibling, and he was emotionally and verbally abusive to all of us. We just didn't recognize it as that because we didn't know those words. We didn't have that language. We just knew that he didn't make people feel good most of the time. We knew that, but we didn't know what that meant. And so I learned as a child, don't listen to what people say. Listen to what they don't say, and have structure and plans for that, because that's more important than what comes out of their mouth is the things that they don't say out loud that are mattering more to me and my safety, my well-being, than what they actually say. This, fast forward, this ended up being a trauma informed asset. I, as an adult, learned that the way I listen is not the way anybody else listens. And so the things that I hear that other people don't hear allow me to go, that's a problem. Do I have a solution? Can I research a solution to that? Can I create a solution for that? And when I can create those solutions, they're innovative and they solve problems in ways that make me stand out. That is a trauma-informed asset that I claimed and built my entire consulting business on. That's why those matter more than the money, because the asset that I claim, just that one, there are others, but that one right there allows me to not only do that in consulting, it allows me to do it as a keynote speaker, it allows me to do it when I'm coaching, it allows me to do that in ways with just in sitting in a room. I told you I like to observe. When I'm sitting in these rooms and observing, my mind is making notes on there are things that tie into the mission and the work that you've already done and that you can now create to solve that thing right there that you just observed. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's create something there. And then let's bring that out as something new that we can use to solve that problem that everybody is dealing with. So in my consulting, I literally have been doing for almost 7 years, looking at things from a trauma-informed lens, but working with organizations. Now, when we're doing that, most of the time people are talking about, oh, you're talking about the touchy-feely stuff that make people feel better, and then they go home and they feel better because they had a little rah-rah session with somebody, and then that's it. No, we're talking about truly looking at what parts of your system are built in ways that were informed by trauma, and that's the reason why it's impacting your outcomes. But at the same time, I never wanted to only stay in that spot. I wanted to impact the individuals directly. So what did I learn as I came out of abuse? How did I build, and how can other Black women replicate that? Not only to recover, but then not to go back into those cycles. And that's why we're using that program. For 5 years, we have an 80% success rate with Black women not re-entering those cycles. Because when you claim your assets, look, you're on your way for your trauma reparation. So step 3 is I. I is for inheritance. inheritance, because your trauma informed assets, and I like to call them a trauma upgrades, that's how you claim your options. That's how you inherit your options and your choices for you, and by extension, your next generations. So, like I was saying before, and I'm going to expound a little bit more on it, the universe literally is fair and balanced. So, anybody who is suffering for something that they didn't actually create, there's a payback coming to them. Why? Because it has to. So the balance is, yep, you went through that, but now something is coming back to you. So part of what allows you to claim your inheritance is going, ooh, I see that there is a skill shaped gap right here, and I can plug into that. So I'm going to look at my skill, look at the gap, see how I can naturally and authentically, because you're not going to betray yourself, because remember, you love you. So you're not going to do something that makes you uncomfortable. You're not going to do something that you can't believe in. But at the same time, you're going to make sure that you're matching up your skill to that gap. Ooh, I don't know if y'all can see that. We're about to get some rain. We're about to get some rain. Oh, and I can feel the air changing. It feels great. Okay. Look, I gotta stop and enjoy stuff because it took a long time to get here. Anywho, um, so those trauma-informed assets are for you to plug in to those skill-shaped gaps, and for you to be able to say, okay, what's the place? What's the relationship? What's the organization? What's the community that this fits into best, and where I can add the most value? Once you know that, now you're poised for D. D is a demand, girl. What? Demand. There was this conversation with James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni, the late great Nikki Giovanni. Oh my goodness, she's amazing. And he was like, well, there's certain things that women have to ask their mates. And she was like, ask. I don't have to ask you to respect me. I demand respect. They were having a gender conversation, and he was like, well, we understand that you want certain things, and you must ask for those. She was like, no, I must not ask for them. I must demand them. And that was my introduction to Nikki Giovanni, was that conversation between them. And I went and looked up everything else I could find on that woman, because she was like this big, and she was like, no, I must demand. I was like, ooh, who's this sister? She's so powerful. We have to demand. Once we've spotted our inheritance, we have to demand that trauma itself, with those upgrades, pays us back. So you can't just sit there and go, there's a skill set gap, I can feel it. Beautiful, you gotta move. Your movement is your demand. So I saw I had skill shaped gaps that I could fill, and then I had to move in that. I had to create the LLC. I had to start talking to decision makers and saying, I've noticed this thing in organizations like yours. I'd like to have a conversation about that. So many times we wait for permission. And I'm here to say, sisters, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. Permission to do something different. Permission to move. Permission to act. Permission to be in a space that you don't think, that you don't think you are qualified for. Okay. I read something when I was still doing career connection work. They called us employment specialists, and we helped people find jobs. And so many times when I was working with men, they had a few qualifications. They were like, I'm going for this job. And I was like, okay, well, let's try to make your resume tell that story. Listen, women would be qualified for everything highly. Maybe there was one thing that they hadn't encountered yet, or didn't have experience with. And they were like, well, that job, I'm not going to be qualified for that because that one thing. That man had maybe one or two things out of 10. She had 9 out of 10. He was like, I'm qualified. I'm going for it. She was like, oh, I don't know. Okay, sisters, Give yourself permission to move. I do not have any degrees. Let me repeat that. I do not have any degrees. There are so many different stories and so many books that will be written on that whole part of my life, the whole college scenario. But listen, that did not disqualify me. Yep, please stop doing that. We need to understand that if we have a skill that can solve a problem, that is the qualification for the assignment. The rest you will learn along the way. The rest, let me say it again, you will learn along the way. There's so many things I learned about business along the way. There's so many things I learned about lines of credit and bank loans and all of that along the way. I didn't know none of that. Grants along the way. Opening an LLC along the way. Opening a nonprofit along the way. Finding out how to move to another country along the way. Finding out how to get connected to United Nations along the way. I'm telling you, how to write a book and publish it myself along the freaking way, y'all. We can't keep waiting to know everything to move. Give yourself permission to not know. Give yourself permission to be scared. People are like, "Well, your name is courageous." I remember I asked a dentist a question because I had never, ever, ever had any sort of tooth work done or whatever. And I got my first cavity in my 30s. And so I asked a question and she was like, "Well, now let's just embrace our name," because I had a question about you sticking a needle in my gum. Look, yes, my name is courageous, and yes, I absolutely embody that. But even people without the name of courageous embody that. Okay? Courageous doesn't mean that I'm never scared. This is 2025. There's been some scary stuff going on. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you looking around at what this year brought us? Okay? You know this year was scary. So if you say I'm scared, then you a wuss? You're not courageous anymore? No. Courageous means, yeah, I see things are scary sometimes. I go anyway. I acknowledge the fear. I don't pretend like it's not there, but I go anyway. That's what courage is. Going anyway, despite the fear. So give yourself permission and don't wait on nobody, because your movement is your demand. Literally demanding your, with every deal, with every gig, with every speech, with every facilitation, with every contract, with every professional relationship, with every upward movement, with every barrier you break, you are literally demanding trauma to pay you. And I will say, research what you are offering and know what you are worth. I literally just found out how much I need to be charging for keynotes. Had no idea how underpaid I was. You learn along the way. When I first started upping what I was charging people for consulting, for workshops, I had no idea that's what people were getting paid for workshops. None. I found out along the way. But when I found out, I changed my prices. Why? Because that was my demand. You owe me. You're not going to get off cheap. Because what I went through, I didn't get off cheap. I went through it all. Every single level of hell I went through. I didn't get no back doors. I didn't get to skip the hard stuff. So you don't get to be cheap with me, trauma. You don't get no discount when you pay me back. You pay me right. Okay,
I know that's
pay
right.
me right. No, there ain't no discounts, reduced costs. I didn't get no reduced nothing. I didn't get reduced pain. I didn't get reduced turmoil. I didn't get reduced mother guilt.
Say
Okay, I
that.
didn't get reduced missed opportunities. I didn't get reduced grief for the people that walked away from me because they didn't understand my journey. None of that did I get reductions in. You pay me in full.
Mm.
Okay? So when you are making your demand, make sure that you're getting paid at your full value, but literally paid is the framework. If we are changing our perception, if we are claiming our assets, if we are spotting our inheritance and then demanding by moving into that inheritance that trauma pay us every penny, I'm telling you, There are things that my daughter has said, Mom, I did this because I saw you not do that. She's not telling me this at 30. She's not telling me this at 50. She's telling me this before she graduated as a 17-year-old, as a 16-year-old. They were bold, powerful, brash. I don't know how to put ballsy. The girl was ballsy at 16. I was like, oh, you did that? Listen, this is her testimony, but I gotta say it because part of it is my testimony. Before she
Tell
turned
it, Mama.
18,
Tell it.
before she graduated from school, she told a racist male teacher, not only don't ever deal with me like that again, but you tried to play with a black woman in our community because you couldn't get at me. And I found out about it. And I'm here to tell you, don't let it happen again because my mama is connected and she'll find out and I'll find out and I'll be back. She said that as a 17-year-old, hadn't graduated from high school yet, young lady. And I said, girl, you went there and I was so proud of you. She was like, Mom, you go there. You go there. That's when I say pay in full. I'm not just talking about the money. I'm talking about the things that happen in your children because you demanded your inheritance. Some of those things don't even have price tags on them, but they are worth the weight of you and your children and their children, the cumulative weight in gold to watch them move with intention and boldness because they saw you do it.
And sometimes it takes you so long to get to that point. Like I said, I'm 53. I'm 53, and they probably saw so many tears roll down my face and on my pillow. And, just my shortness of toward them because of, just like I said, I didn't know how to process all this, and I didn't know how to stand up to the world that was just coming at me, that didn't understand me because they didn't even know my trauma, much less understood the trauma. Even if I would have shared it with them, they wouldn't have known anyway because we don't know that narrative. We haven't been taught those things. And so trying to express how we feel and find those words is so very difficult. And even now, it's like I'm just so proud of me when I wake up. Like, some people just call me conversations. Most of the time it's sunshine, but sometimes depending on where I am, it's like, hey, conversations, how you doing, conversations? And so, it's my new identity, but most of the time it's sunshine. Hey, sunshine. And you can't say that without smiling. And so,
correct.
Just like you can't say courageous without feeling empowered. So, words matter. And
yes, they do.
Move matters. And being
intentional
matters. And
yes, ma'am.
Sometimes it's like, would you change it? I mean, I would be crazy to say I wouldn't go back and change all that trauma. Yes, I would change it because I would want to be a better mother. But the reality of it is I can't change the past, but what I can change, that's what I'm working on, my present and my future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we deserve to have that change, separate and apart from being mothers, as women, as human beings, as Black women. We deserve, I got to say this real slow because we don't hear this stuff. As Black women, we deserve to live well. Well, I hear so many Black women talking about, I'm just grateful for what I have. That's great to be grateful. It's wonderful to be grateful. I absolutely believe that gratitude is one of those things that helps keep you well, keeps your spirits good, keeps you balanced, and all of that. But we tend to live in the unhealthy optimism. Well, you know what? I got 2 pieces of bread. I could have just had one. I'm just so grateful. Okay, no. Okay. Now we're in harmful optimism because you deserve to have whatever food that you find enjoyable. Is it steak? Is it seafood? Is it a beautiful vegan diet with all the trimmings? What is it? Because why is it that everybody else can have pictures of them eating this and that and the other, and you are just supposed to be satisfied with your freaking one piece of bread? No, no, sister. You deserve to live well. You served well. You loved well. Why can't you live well? And why are you selfish? Because that is what you want, is to live well. You don't have to be a jerk. You don't have to be a horrible person that's just mean and crass with folks and harsh and abrupt. We have been taught that having something means you must have stepped on a whole bunch of people to get there. You must be selfish. You must be horrible. Listen, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Don't listen. I have come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. Do you believe that? Because if you believe that, then why are you satisfied with your one piece of bread? That's not abundant. It's
I
not.
don't think I've ever heard that term, harmful optimism.
Because why do we do that? You know what I mean? It's just like optimism is supposed to lift you, not be the burden that crushes you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we deserve to live well, beautiful. We deserve to live well. I don't know who is hearing this morning or this afternoon or who's going to hear later that needs to know. So I'm looking, look, how close can I get? Let's say, beautiful. You deserve to live well. Think about all the people that you love on, and you do that so that they can live well, right? And you're proud of the fact that you love them like that so that they can live like that as a result of you. You deserve what you give. You deserve the same thing. You deserve to live well.
So just let that marinate for just a minute, because I think you said it so wonderfully at the beginning. If I tell you something negative, you receive it quickly. If I tell you something positive, I got to point it out to you. So we just gonna pause right there for a minute and I'm gonna put it back up. You deserve to live well. Know your worth. Give yourself permission to get paid. Oh, I don't have that one up. That one's at the bottom. Perception, assets, inheritance, demand.
Yes. Oh, I love seeing that in print. May this be imprinted on the hearts of every person looking at this.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Wow. 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 98% of people in a survey who were asked said that they have experienced trauma within their lifetimes. That's a whole lot of people walking around who should be getting paid.
Should be getting paid.
Let's get paid. Let's get paid.
Look, and I want my coins, my paper, my piece, all of that.
Okay.
I want to get paid in abundance.
That's right. That's right. Look, like you said, in all of the layers. Why are diamonds so beautiful? Because they have layers. All these different sides of a diamond, all these cuts in the diamond, all of these things reflect different parts of the light, and that's why they're so beautiful. There are so many facets. Yes. There's so many facets of abundance, and the beauty of abundance is that it can be so multifaceted. We're not just talking about money here. We're not just talking about your children. What about the Black women who are not mothers of actual human beings? They don't deserve that, and of course they do. There's so many facets of wealth, and get them all. Look, all of the stress that took my hair out, little sprouts are coming up on the top. When I'm talking about getting paid, I'm talking about all of it. Starting to lose. When I first got here, I lost 12 pounds. Why? Stress. Now I'm working out. This is my sixth consecutive day. Why? Because I want my chiseled body back. I don't care that I'm 57. There's a woman named Ernestine something or other, black sister, cut up like a racehorse. That sister, okay? Oh, that's right. That sister, she's older than that now. When I was first reading about it, she was 84 or 87 in the gym working out, just cut up in her 80s, holding classes as a personal trainer. Okay, look, I'm 30 years younger than her. I should be cut up too. I was cut up. Okay, I want that back. When I say I want all of my stuff, I want all my stuff. I want all of my abundance. When people hear the word courageous, I want them to think of the adjective. I want them to think of the freedom architect. I want them to think of the Black women protector. And I want them to consider whatever move that they might be making that even remotely includes even one Black woman. And if they were thinking about moving wrong, I want them to correct it. Just because they heard the word courageous, because they might be talking about me and I might hear about it and they don't want this smoke. Huh? I don't just want money. I don't just want my children to live well and to have options long past their lives and mine. I want there to be a movement of safety, of increased outcomes in health and economics for Black women in the United States because I was here. And if you don't think I'm looking for my successor, you'd be wrong. I am, because this movement is not going to stop when I leave this realm. It's going to keep growing and it's going to keep expanding. Look, I'm already in Panama. Do you think I'm here to play? I'm not here to play. When I say abundance, that's what I mean. Let your vision show you all the facets in that diamond of abundance. They are in your inheritance, and get them all, sis. Don't leave not one on the table.
We leaving no crumbs.
None. None.
Diamonds either.
Okay. Okay.
I love that. I do.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love us. I love us. And I just, if I could be anything, I want to be that bell that rings. And when you hear my name, that there's a sound, that there's a tone of freedom. The freedom bell rings every time you hear my name. That every time you hear something I've said, that you extract something that gives you another level of freedom because you got connected, were in touch with, heard something from me. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm dedicated to it.
And you've also written a book, so you can.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. There is a book. There's a book series.
Mm-hmm.
It is called the OC series, and OC stands for Other Child. So, like I said, every time I build a framework, it comes from something that I've overcome. So, my sister is a child sexual assault survivor. And I thought, wow, when I learned what was going on with her at 26, I thought, wow, that explains so much, number one. And number two, I need to go even harder on how I protect her and how I look out for her and how I take care of her. I was 55 or 56. And remember, I just turned 57. I was 55 or 56 when I understood, oh, wait, I've been traumatized by what happened to her because it shaped who she became. It shaped the relationship we didn't get to have. It shaped the way she chose to treat me. It shaped the way I did or didn't have relationships with my parents. And a lot of pain came from that. And it's just like, you know what? Again, I'm going to give myself some permission. I'm going to give myself permission to look at me and ask me, yeah, I know what she went through. Now I've known that for 30 some years. Let me ask me what I went through. And let me ask me what I need so I can recover from what I went through. Because at this point, I just turned 57, which means she just turned 60. Either she's going to get help for the harm she endured or she's going to choose not to. I got to deal with me. What do I need? What is the grief that needs to be healed? What is the harm and the abandonment that needs to be healed? And so, first, I wrote the book called This Is for the Other Child because I needed to scream out loud instead of to myself. I needed to give myself permission to talk about me in relationship to all of that. And then the second thing that I wanted to do, like always, who else is out there like me? Right? And not just necessarily have a sibling who experienced that, because that's one part of it. But the other part is who's out there like me who needs some permission to ask themselves what they need and then center that need. That book, that audiobook, that ebook, that hard copy, that paperback large print, paperback regular print, that is so that you can understand how to do that. And there's even stuff in there about how you pick your 3-point squad to help pull you up out of what you've experienced. And part of that 3-point squad, Black women, is a therapist, is a therapist, is a therapist. And you don't just have to pull something randomly out of the card deck. There are ways to choose the right therapist for you, and it's in the book. This is for the other child. Now, of course, if you now understood this is a level of trauma I've experienced and I need to heal from that, the other part is you need yourself a journal. You need to learn some self-love stuff. You need to learn some very specific affirmations, and you need a guide through that. So the OC journal is how you get that. Because we're not just going to talk about, hey, this hurts. We're going to talk about how we solve the hurt, how do we heal the hurt. And I'm always looking for the next level of empowerment and freedom after the hurt, because we deserve that too. So that OC series is all about that. And I'm sure there will be some stuff somewhere around this video where we are that you can click on and go right to it.
I love that because, you know, as I don't even know how many true siblings that I have, but the ones that I grew up in the house with, it was 4 of us. And, you know, it's like you don't really understand. And I don't know if you'll ever fully understand unless you were that other child, how your unresolved trauma negatively or positively affected your siblings. Because hopefully now they understand me a little bit better. Hopefully now that it makes more sense to them, and that if I did cause any hurt or pain to them, that they'll be able to work through it as being the other child. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel the same way about, you know, my sons. Like whatever I did to them, I guess that could be the other kid. Y'all could be the other kid, the other sibling, the other child. But just seeing me now walking in my truth and standing in my truth and using all of the pain and the trauma to help other people, then, you know, hopefully it sheds some light on them and they'll be able to look at the woman or the man in the mirror and do some self-reflection on how they can also be better. And it may help them identify some things that would also help them stand in their truth and change the narrative for their future.
And I want to make sure I say right here, if there's anybody watching this who is an event planner or an organizer who serves Black women, and you want to see them get real transformation that they can actually walk away with, not just a feel-good moment, then you can schedule a discovery call with me. Because we need to talk about your audience and how I can support them through keynotes, workshops that honor their trauma and help them move toward reparations and a different destiny, one that they choose. So, yeah.
So I know you said organizations, but what about like maybe individuals or small groups or something like that? Do you offer those type of services as well?
I do. I do one-on-one coaching, and empowerment through the arts is something that we've been doing for the last 5 years. And so that is absolutely something that we do in very small, intimate groups as well. So, I mean, there's just so many tools because unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, I am a multi-hyphenate survivor. So there's a lot of different skills, right, assets that I've claimed. And so that's what they're for, is to be able to help folks. So yes, we do one-on-ones and small groups as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing all of that information. I think right here is a good space to take us a quick break and then come back and let you give your final thoughts. Sometimes I have like one question that I ask, maybe two. So I'm going to ask you so that you could just be thinking about it. If you wanted to tell the audience, if you didn't hear anything else I said, if you just hear this one nugget, this sunshine golden nugget, this is what I want you to take away from this episode. And then the second one is going to be if you could tell the younger courageous something. What would you tell your younger self? So we're just going to take us just a quick break and come right back. All right, let me see. I got so excited I missed my spot. Hang tight, my sunshine. Conversations with Celena. We'll be right back. Hey, sunshine. So yes, if you know of anyone that would love to come on an episode of Conversation with Celena, please have them go to admin@celenathomas.net or conversationwithcelena@gmail.com. Also, if you missed this particular 11 o'clock episode, I'm going to play it again tonight at 7 p.m. So if you came in later and you want to go back and just listen to it from the beginning to end, I'm going to do it again. It's already out there on YouTube, Facebook, but I'm going to run it from beginning to end again tonight at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. So I just want to put that out there. All right, Courageous, we back with you now. So tell us, whichever order you want to go, what would you tell your younger self? And if you don't take anything else from this episode, this is what I want your takeaway to be.
I'll start with what I would tell my younger self because wow, I would tell her thank you. I'll tell her thank you because even though she seemed so unassuming and so shy and so unsure of herself, she was way more powerful than even I gave her credit for. And she's the reason why I'm here. So I would just say, thank you so much, beautiful, for everything that you kept us going through despite it all. That's what I would say. I would thank her. As far as if you get nothing else out of this episode today, it's so hard to boil it down to one, but I would have to say it all starts with self-love, and it's not, that you do manis and pedis or that you do spa days or you get your hair done certain times or whatever. Literally, what are the things about you that you have sat down with and said, I love, admire, respect these things about me because? What are the great things that you are and the great things that you've done that you have intentionally celebrated with just yourself? How many times do you talk about with yourself, whether it's in a journal or sitting down in the mirror, the things that you do well, the ways that you have persevered or overcome? And I don't mean the replays of the stuff that you know about. I'm talking about the stuff that is recent to remind yourself that you ain't no one hit wonder. These things matter because self love is something that has to be nurtured consistently in order to live and flourish consistently. If you are operating from a place of self love, sister, I promise it's going to change the decisions you make, the people you're around, and the ways that you move. Because if you're operating from a place of it has to benefit and be good to me and for me and be healthy around me, there's certain things you just won't do. And there's certain things other people won't be allowed to do or have access to do. So start with love. And I don't mean love for others. I mean love for you first and best.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! I love it. This has been an amazing episode. Okay, y'all can stop now. There we go. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you so much for all of your insights and just your contributions to women, especially Black women. So thank you so very much. And I hope that you will come back at a later date to give us an update. But before we go, we got to know what's going on in Chicago.
Look, so much be going on. I be forgetting. Listen, Black women in the United States. Now, a lot of work that I've done in Courageous Access is all about domestic violence survivors who are Black women. And I need you to know that most of the time we don't know when we are. So that's not who I'm talking to. There's going to be a national conference in Chicago in October of next year, 2026. It is the first one that Courageous Access has ever done. And it is going to be powerful. There will be 5 Black women healers. We will be together all day long. There will be no breakouts because you're not going to miss anything. We're going to be together for every single power-packed healing recovery session. And I'm talking about it's going to be cultural. I'm talking about it's going to be stuff that we do. We're not bringing Western medicine. We're bringing culture. We bring in sisterhood. We bring in belonging, and it's coming to Chicago. So they save the date out there on courageousaccess.org. Click save the date so that when the tickets pop out in January, you can get yours because it will be a full house at 150. You want to make sure that you get in there and you get, while the getting is good, there will be scholarships available as well. So do not let money be a deterrent. We will see you in Chicago in October 2026. Make sure you save the date.
Awesome. I could not close out without that because it's in my mind. I'm like, she told me to save the date. Now that's all I remember, save the date. But because there wasn't I didn't know the actual date, I thought I had to wait. But you just said go and save the date in advance so that when it is released. So thank you so much for that clarity. The best thing to do is get an understanding, because if you don't have an understanding, you're going to miss out. Yes. Well, y'all come back tonight at 7 because there will be a replay so that you will get it all the information, all the nuggets, the great insight from Courageous Fire. Thank y'all. Have a great day. You hang tight for me, Miss Lady, and then I'll let you go in just a minute. All right, y'all. Keep it smiling.